where it was confirmed she was 5 months pregnant. Her mother demanded to know who was responsible. Ikenna was a 31-year-old man living in Enugu State. He was very rich and had many properties. However, he realized he was getting older and worried that if he died without a family, no one would take care of his property. So, he decided it was time to find a wife. He thought about it for a while and then called his friend, Ogadi, to help him in the search. They prepared and traveled to Umuaba village. To test the character of the women they would meet, Ikenna dressed in dirty clothes, disguised as a crippled man, and sat in a wheelchair, while Ogadi pushed him around the village. The people in the village were kind and gave them money, clothes, and food. One day, they saw a very beautiful girl, and Ogadi told Ikenna it was time to approach her. Ikenna asked the girl, "How are you doing?" She replied, "Fine." He then asked for her name, and she said, "Chidima from Umuji village." Ikenna then said, "Please, I want you to be my friend." Chidima hissed and walked away without looking back. Ikenna and Ogadi continued their search, undeterred. As they were heading back home, they met another beautiful girl named Adaobi. They followed her to her house to meet her father. They were offered chairs to sit, and after some discussion, Ikenna said, "I am here to pay the bride price for your daughter." Adaobi's father asked, "Which of my daughters?" Ikenna replied, "The fair one, of course. I mean Adaobi." Her father called Adaobi and asked, "Do you know this man sitting here?" Adaobi replied, "No." Her father then said, "This young man says he wants to marry you." Adaobi was silent for a while, then went inside, brought a bucket of water and poured it on them. She then started throwing sand at them. Ikenna was speechless and left with Ogadi. On their way home, Ikenna asked Ogadi if he had encountered such things while searching for a wife. Ogadi answered that God had helped him, implying that he had been lucky. 2 months later, they met another girl. She was so harsh that she threatened to pour hot water on them, but they managed to run away in time. Realizing their current approach was not working, they decided to change their plan. They started begging for money in the market while still looking for a wife. Many people passing by gave them money, clothes, and food, but their real goal was to find a woman to marry. One faithful day at the market, they saw a beautiful girl named Kioma and her friends. Ikenna asked Ogadi to call Kioma over. When she approached, Ikenna looked at her and said, "You ask me to call this pretty girl. A poor crippled man like you is calling me." Kioma said, looking at Ikenna with disdain. As she started to leave, Ikenna called out, "My love, don't leave. I want you to be my wife." Kioma slapped him hard and walked away. Feeling dejected, they traveled back to Enugu State to rest and think about their next steps. A week later, they returned to Umuji village to continue their search for a wife. While there, they met a girl named Chidiogo. She was kind, gentle, and God-fearing. Ikenna asked her, "Can you be my friend?" Chidiogo replied, "What kind of friend?" Ikenna explained, "I want you to be my girlfriend." After some hesitation, Chidiogo agreed. Chidiogo took them to her home and convinced her parents to let them stay. One day, when Chidiogo's mother went to the market, leaving Ikenna, Ogadi, and Chidiogo at home, Ikenna saw this as an opportunity to test Chidiogo's love. He asked her, "Marry me in private," and she agreed. Ikenna and Ogadi then began planning to call his father and some elders from Enugu State to arrange the bride price. Early one morning, they told everyone they were returning to Enugu State, but would come back the next week. Her mother took her to the hospital, where it was confirmed she was 5 months pregnant. Her mother demanded to know who was responsible, and Chidiogo confessed it was Ikenna. Her parents were furious. 1 week later, 5 large cars arrived at Chidiogo's home. Ikenna, Ogadi, several elders, and Ikena's parents stepped out of the cars. Chidiogo and her parents came outside to see what was happening.